God bless you guys. How are you doing? God bless you. I want to talk about kind of what's going on right now with everything going on in the country right now. God bless all of you. First of all, thank you for those who are sending me money. I appreciate it and helping me. I mean, as God said in Matthew 25:31-37, right? When I was poor, you helped me. When I was in prison, you visited me. When I was sick, you cared for me. So the way you treated the least of these, you've treated me. So thank you for those that have sent me money. I appreciate it. Helping me in my situation, my tough situation, and helping my twin brother, who's been sick for 13 years. Thank you very much for helping me, and I would encourage all those others that want to help me. If you click on any of my video titles below, there's a PayPal link, and you can send money that way, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get right to the subject at hand. President Trump, he's got the immunity now for all official reasons. When he's in his official duties, he's got sweeping immunity now for that particular when he's officially in duty. But it's kind of ridiculous because all presidents have had immunity. All have had sweeping immunity. It's never been questioned. It's only that now that the Democrats want to destroy Trump, that now all of a sudden it's like something the U.S. Supreme Court has to pick up. And the U.S. Supreme Court, in my book, is a joke. Yes, it's a good decision, but they didn't need to make that decision because it's already been sweeping immunity. They don't need to legislate from the bench that they like to do all the time. It's like we're always relying on the U.S. Supreme Court to define our Constitution. The Constitution is pretty blatantly clear from our Christian forefathers. George Washington was a hardcore Christian. It's written in our Constitution. It's written on our money. It's under our it's listed in our Pledge of Allegiance. It's pretty clear. Our Constitution is very clear about our rights to bear arms, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. All that is pretty clear. But the Democrats really took Trump all the way through, and you can see Juan Merchan, the illegal immigrant, the Colombian illegal immigrant that should never be a judge. No illegals should ever be judges. In fact, no foreigners should be judges. You should be a red-blooded American to be a judge. You shouldn't be some Colombian native or anything else in my books, because most of these people end up being very racist towards white people. He actually hates white people, and they said in his studies, Juan Merchan's been extremely hard towards white people, but everyone else, of course, that's South American or Mexican, he just lets them off. It's just such racism. We live in a country now where they hate white people, but I hate to break the news to you, America's white, 95% white. It always has been. It hasn't been Hispanic or Mexican or anything else. 5% black, 95% white. That's been the breakdown of America. Now we've got Cubans, Hispanic, Mexicans coming over in the border by the millions, taking over everything, taking over our jobs. Their parents can't speak a lick of English. We're on second generation illegals now. Everywhere I go to the stores and everywhere is all Hispanic people, and their parents can't speak a lick of English. So if their parents were illegal, then they're illegal too. And they come here and they give up their children, and they don't know what happened to their children. They don't care. But every one of them will be in hell as a result of it. So we're at that situation now with Juan Merchan, of course. He's delayed the sentencing for President Trump to September 18th. So it was originally July 11th. How convenient, huh? Put him away in Rikers Island, have him killed. So now all of a sudden, based on the U.S. Supreme Court's decision for immunity, then now all of a sudden they have to delay it. Might as well just toss the case out. Give me a break. So based on that and the fact that Judge Cannon will probably throw out that case, she's the one that had, with Jack Smith, had that indefinite waiting for the next sentencing. She had an indefinite when she was going to come back to that. I believe she'll just toss the case because Jack Smith is such a crooked man. He's corrupt and evil, and he'll be in hell. So based on all that, all the cases with Trump should go away. The left, they want to murder him. They're wicked and they're evil. They're ran by Obama, who is the Antichrist. He is the one that's been ruling America for 8 years. He destroyed America. He's gave billions of dollars to Iran to set up and build their nuclear reactor. They now have nuclear weapons. They now have enough uranium enrichment to build those nuclear bombs. When they sent the 350 missiles over towards Israel recently, those missiles made it all the way here, all the way to Israel from Iran, which goes to show you they have that capability. And that's what they've been trying to do. That's what Obama funded with our taxpayer dollars, and that's why he'll be in hell. And right now, that's kind of where we're at right now. The war with Israel, the Psalm 83 war with Israel is really ramping up. Iran's threatening nuclear war with them if they continually squeeze Hezbollah, like they pretty much have destroyed Hamas almost entirely. And they're finding tunnels where they're trying to sneak. Egypt and all these countries are sneaking cash through and weapons through these tunnels all the way to Rafah to try and keep that alive, Hamas alive there. And Israel's got their work cut out for them, but Israel's been threatening a doomsday. They've got a Jericho. Jericho 1 was created in the 60s, Jericho 2 was in the 80s, and Jericho 3 in the year 2000s, and it's basically about 1,500 kilograms. It's got a warhead on there that they attach. And this thing is just massive and huge, and they can drop this warhead, this huge ballistic missile, and they could wipe out Hezbollah and wipe out, the Sunnis and the militia in Syria, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, nuke the reactor in Iran. They're going to use bunker busting bombs to take out the Iranian reactor. Remember, they flew over recently and they took out all the radar that protected that reactor. Biden begged them not to hit the nuclear reactor of Iran. This was right after when Iran fired 350 missiles over, but they will next time, and it will be on the Feast of Trumpets, October 2nd to the 4th, the next Feast of Trumpets when we get raptured. That's the next feast when we get raptured. So that's where we're at right now. The war is really heating up, and they're both threatening nuclear war. Israel feels they may not have no choice but to use the doomsday bomb, which would be, the Samson reaction to that, the Jericho 3, the David sling. These are all weapons after the Bible to protect them, because most of Israel is going to be wiped out. They're going to nuke Iranian reactor in the middle of the night. They're going to nuke the airport of Damascus, where Iran will be trying to send that nuclear missile through. They've been sending weapons through Beirut airport and Damascus airport for years, and Israel keeps bombing it. But the Bible says that Damascus will be a heap of ruins in the morning. A heap of ruins in the morning. Because Israel, it's kind of interesting it says that, because it's kind of letting you know Israel strikes only at night, just like America does, because most countries can't pick up the radar and they can't visually see it. So it's a big surprise at night when they fly over, like they did recently when they flew over the reactors. So that war is really heating up. If we're going to get raptured on the next Feast of Trumpets, which will be October 2nd to the 4th, this war should be heating up where it's threatening to be nuclear, because the weapons do get burned for 7 years. Remember that. So this would have to be a nuclear war. Micah 7:2 says the righteous had vanished, but the world had barely noticed. Why is that? Because the sixth seal, the stars are thrown down on the sixth seal, and they nuke America. It's like a meteor is the same as a nuclear bomb. The Lord's going to rain down meteors upon America and break it in half and drop it in the ocean. So all the illegal immigrants and the wicked left and the corrupt people and our corrupt politicians, our corrupt FBI, our corrupt Department of Justice, our corrupt Attorney General Garland, all these people will all drop into a lake of fire, including America, who's also corrupt and wicked. And they'll drop into hell because of it. The Lord's going to rain down those stars from heaven on the sixth seal. Remember, that's the great and terrible day of the Lord. Great for us because we get raptured. Terrible for those who are left behind because they get destroyed. And so that's going to happen at the same time. This war is really vamping up with Israel. They'll threaten nuclear war. They'll probably do it. And most of Israel will be destroyed, but there'll be enough to salvage it. And then that's when they'll declare the peace agreement and sign the 7-year peace agreement. Obama will step in and sign that peace agreement. The world is demanding a peace agreement right now. The war is heating up dramatically right now to a nuclear level. Russia's threatening to nuke America if they continue to send weapons to Poland and Ukraine, which they are. Once again, America doesn't want to fight on our soil. We'd rather send it and deal on their soil. So, not to mention also the fact that we have the AI robots. The robots, if you Google robots, you'll see every factory. There's factories all over the world. Turkey, Japan, China, America. The robots look exactly like you. They can do a 3D scan of your body. From maybe you had your picture on Facebook or wherever. They can 3D scan it, and the skin looks exactly like it, and it looks exactly like a human, and it talks like a human. They've got robots to do deliveries. They've got robots to pick everything up and do minimum wage jobs, to transfer stuff, do all physical labor. Then they have ones like Sophia, who's like the UN spokesperson. Can you imagine a robot, a UN spokesperson? And these robots, of course, said that, democracy and communism is both equal in their books. Yeah, they have no morality because they're programmed by New World Order. Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, all these people that are super old, and they're banking on the fact that they're going to eat lobster every day. They're going to enslave everybody in cages and have the AI robots take over. I mean, there's literally millions across the world in every factory. Look it up. Google AI robots, Google robots, US robots, and you'll see they can talk to you. They have your mannerisms. They can think like you, and they're about to replace you. And most people in America and the world think that it's going to be, the world's convincing you, the New World Order is convincing you that the robots are going to be great for you. You're going to be able to stay home, get a check from the government. You're not going to have to work at all, okay? And then the AI robot's going to do your laundry. It's going to take care of all your needs. I mean, some of these robots will even have sex with the people. That's how perverted this is. There'll be like wives to some of these men and so forth, or, you know, husbands or whatever. And that they're going to cook for you and do your laundry and run your errands, pick your kids up from school. It'll be great. And it's actually the opposite. You'll be thrown into cages. They'll take over. And they're going to take over the factories, but it makes zero sense. Why would they have them take over the factories? Who's going to have the money? Who's going to pay the money to keep this economy going if the people are gone? Not the robots, right? But, you know, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all these people are just filthy wicked. They're all part of the end times New World Order takeover. And of course, Obama, the Antichrist, and Pope Francis, the false prophet, at the helm. But the world's declaring peace agreement right now. They're demanding peace agreement over this Israeli war. So we know if we're going to get raptured on October 2nd to the 4th, that should be taking place. We also know that the beast system is the robots taking over. Is that happening now? Absolutely. Every factory in the world, in the countries around the world, have factories, mass producing robots. They can walk, they can run, they can talk, they can kill you also. Military soldiers, they can duplicate your voice, they can act like you, and they can take over your jobs. On top of that, one guy who is an expert on the border said that they've already got contracts approved in every state in America to build dissent camps, camps where they put Christians in there. They're like basically prisons. Christians and all people who dissent against, essentially Christians and people that dissent against the government, which is essentially their plan. But what they don't know is God has another plan, and that is that to take over America, he's going to wipe America out. So there won't be full control in America because he's going to wipe it out with meteors. The sixth seal, right? The great and terrible day of the Lord. Great for us and terrible for those that are getting destroyed, right? Great for the Christians that are getting raptured on October 2nd to the 4th, the next Feast of Trumpets. Terrible for those who are getting destroyed. So that's kind of the plan with the AI robots taking over, throwing people in cages and killing them and hitting them with this and the mark of the beast that Jesus predicted. See, Jesus essentially predicted AI over 2,000 years ago because he explained it to John. He explained it in Revelation 13:16 that there'd be a mark on your right hand or your forehead, and that mark would be 666, the number of a man. Well, 666 is in every barcode. So the war's heating up, which is one thing. The AI robots are taking over tech jobs now. Next year, they'll take over all jobs. Your bank will just, of course, email you and say, by the way, or text you and say, by the way, your money's digital. Come get the mark of the beast, and you'll have no problems at all. So that's happening. AI robots all across the world. I encourage you to YouTube it. It'll be quite scary and shocking to you just to see how these robots can duplicate human beings' voices. They can talk like you, walk like you, can eat, do everything just like you, and replace your job. So we're looking at that. We're looking at this war with Hezbollah and Israel. They're both threatening doomsday. The Jericho 3, the 60s, 80s, and the year 2000, they came out with the Jericho weapons in 1960, and then they've revolutionized it to the point where it's a nuclear warhead that Israel would use. They have a David Sling operation that would be the last minute Samson button that they hit, and that all these things strike the Arabs if Hezbollah tries to take over, and the last bit if the Arabs try to take over. And basically Israel's talking about nuking these people because Iran's threatening to nuke them. So it's a big, big thing going on here. The war is heating up. I believe the Feast of Trumpets will be at the hottest part of this war when everybody starts to nuke each other. There won't be much left of Israel because Jesus wants them to depend on them. America will be destroyed immediately and then nuked by China and Russia. Russia's subs are outside of America, and so are Chinese subs, and we have Chinese troops. Years ago, a guy had delivered pizza in Texas to a warehouse, and when he opened up, there was like 10,000 Chinese soldiers. So they're already here. They've come through the border just openly. They said majority of the people that come through the border are males. Where are the families at, right? If supposedly it's all these families, right? No man's going to say, oh, I want to leave my wife and kids behind. I'll just go. I'll see you later. No, they take the family, right? But you don't see that. And they're selling their kids off to child pornography and everything in America. It's really, really sick. Taking their children and selling them off. But these people all be in hell. The people that break into this country illegally, all the illegals, they'll all be in hell. Because you can't lie, cheat, and steal to get in this country. Absolutely not. So it's all part of the end times where they let all the foreign soldiers come in and people take over our jobs. Right now, all the legal immigrants are taking our jobs. Next will be the AI robots taking over the jobs for the entire world. Every culture right now is having problems with illegals trying to take over. You know, in Greece, all these people are coming in by the boatload, these Turkish people coming over, these Muslims trying to take over and move into their culture and take over everything. We have pretty much Mexicans trying to take over all of America, destroy America and destroy it by taking our jobs and lie, cheat, and steal to get in the country. We just have a lot going on with that. And it's all over the world. This part of the beast system. You know, that's one facet of the beast system. Take over, the cages are being built, dissent camps where if you dissent against the American government, you'll be thrown into jail. Essentially, the world's going after Christians and Jews. That's pretty much what the Quran talks about, 157 references. Well, Obama's a Muslim, so that's what he follows, the Quran, about killing Christians and Jews. There's 157 references mentioning that. So the world is kind of freaking out, so they're trying to elect right-wing, conservative, Republicans, like in France with Le Pen, and because they're getting so worried that this world's turning left-wing communism takeover, beast system, which it is. So we were coming to a crossroads. Is either Trump going to get in office, and if he's got immunity now, so thank God for that. So all these cases will dissolve that have come against him. They'll all dissolve now, and he'll be fine. You know, the September 11th has been delayed to September 18th, and we know the case with Jack Smith, the crooked person he is. Well, Judge Cannon will toss that out. So, you know, Trump has a lot of promises he wants to make to help America. However, I don't think we'll get there. I believe October 2nd to the 4th is when we'll get Rapture. September 23rd, remember that. It's the 79 General Assembly. Very powerful, because that General Assembly is about telling people the AI robots are going to take over, how to dictate it, and how to put the people in cages and kill everybody and force the mark on them. That's where we're headed right now with what's going on. The rapture will be happening very soon also. So you can see everything is heating up with the war, the AI robots taking over tech jobs this year. Next year will be all labor jobs, and they'll take over everything. And you can see we're headed on a very fast path here to the rapture. Number one, read your word. 5 minutes a day is fine. Romans, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, great books. Read those every day, 5 minutes. Read some Proverbs for wisdom. Read it out loud. 2, obey the word. Obey what you're reading every day. You can't obey the word if you don't read it. So you have to read it out loud so you can hear it. Faith comes by hearing. Your voice is a perfect way to hear. You'll recognize your voice more than any other voice, they said, studies have shown, and you'll retain more knowledge as a result of it. Read the word of God every day. And 3, Lord, what can I do for you today? What's my ministry? Am I a healer? Am I going to the hospital and holding the hands of the sick people? Am I discernment, like my gift of discernment, where God's given me the ability to look in and see people? I can see people going to heaven, to hell. Ask God what your gifts are. Are you a healer? Do you have discernment? I was taking up the rapture 13 years ago and showing the rapture. That's why I'm warning people about the rapture, and have been, but I believe this will be the year. But also God's given the gift of teaching. So ask God what your gifts are, because the time is short. And we're going home soon. So the time is short. And God bless you guys. Continue to read the word, obey the word, and advance the kingdom. If you struggle with sin, give it to God. We all struggle with sin. There's not a righteous man that does good and does not sin. So nobody's perfect. But don't justify it. Just admit if you're wrong. Lord, I'm wrong. I screwed up. And no deliberate sins. Remember that. Be careful of lying, cheating, stealing, jealousy, gossip. These are deliberate sins you need to avoid. Those are, you're deliberately doing it, and you're aware that you're deliberately doing it. Other sins that you're not deliberately doing are the things that you're just like addictions or struggling with lust, these kinds of things. Other sins, right? Those are covetousness. These are sins that become natural as part of who you are, because your forefathers, as the Bible said, handed an empty life down to you from your forefathers. So that's basically the sin. That's why you'll see some families struggle with alcoholism, others have different addictions and so forth, but they all have one. Everybody has one predominant sin that you suffer from, you struggle with. Give it to the Lord. Read the word every day, obey, and do your ministry. When you do your ministry, God, what can I do for you? How can I please you? What are my gifts? How can it show me my gifts? When you ask the Lord for that, one, it gets you off the hook because he's not going to say at Judgment Day, you never even asked me what your gifts were. So you can say, yeah, no, I did. I was interested. And I go, Lord. So, you want the Lord to know that you care, the Father to know that, and Jesus to know that you're interested in advancing the kingdom of God. Not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father in heaven. What's his will? To advance the kingdom. How do you advance the kingdom? By reading the word, obeying the word, and asking what your gifts are. Lord, what plans do you have for me? What do you want me to do? It's not works. Works are what you think you need to do, to please God. Bearing fruit is what the Lord wants you to do to please God, to please him. So remember that. So I focus on that. Focus on reading the word and obeying the word. The war is definitely heating up. We're definitely going home October 2nd to the 4th. And God bless you guys. Thank you for sending money and help me. God bless you.